Hello everyone, my name is Ibrahim and I'm the founder of Data Starter NG. In this video, I wanted to introduce you guys to the dataset and I want to walk you through how you can load it into Power BI and connect all the tables together. So in the previous video, I mentioned that you probably don't need all these data sets to perform this analysis, right? And I also mentioned that we're going to remove the tables that you don't need, and we're just going to leave the tables that's necessary. So before I actually import this into Power BI, I want to introduce you guys to like a concept of a star schema, because this concept is going to be really helpful for you for this data set. It's going to make your analysis really easy. So, and to explain that, I prepared like a presentation for you guys, walking you through the concept of a star schema with like a real world example. So here's the presentation. A star schema. This is like a practical introduction with a real world example. So what is a star schema? A star schema is like a data model, and usually we use it in data warehouses. And what it consists of is like a central fact table. So as you can see this visual over here, it kind of look like a star. You can see like a central fact table over here surrounded with various dimension table. So what is a fact table? A fact table usually just consists of your metrics and KPIs. It consists of what you want to track. For example, sales numbers or order numbers, and dimension tables just give you context. It allows you to know the what, the why, the where, etc. So here's like a simple example, a supermarket sales example. So for example, a supermarket records like every sale, and the management decides to analyze like the daily sales, best selling product, store performance, and customer behavior. Here's like the key question they want to answer. What are we selling? When, where, and to whom? Pretty simple. And here's like an example of a fact table. Uh, like I mentioned, a fact table is used to store measurable events, and one row is equal to one sale. So it contains like the quantity sold, revenue, discount, etc. So here are some example columns that you can find in a fact table. So the date ID, the product ID, store ID, customer ID, revenue, profits, etc. Just things you can track. And here's like the dimension table, which gives you context. It makes it much more vivid. So dimension tables will provide descriptive details. So he helps you answer the who, what, when, and where. And how you connect the dimension table to the fact table, you usually link it using the IDs. So here are some examples of dimension tables. We have the date, product, store, customer. So all these provide some kind of context. So here's like the example of a date dimension. So here are all the columns you can find there. And here's like it helps us track the when, when did this happen. So here's like the use case. It's used to analyze sales over time and compare months and years. So and here's like the product dimension. So this one helps us know the what's, what actually happened, you know. So here are some example of columns from the product dimension, and here's like the use case. It's used to find the best selling products, sales by category or brand. And here's like the where and the who. So the where is like the store dimension. So you used to know like where did this come from. Here are like some example columns. We have the store name, city, region, etc. And the who, like who did this, who purchased from us. So here's like it can come from the customer dimension. So here are some example columns that you can find there also. So why star? So why do we call it like a star schema? So the reason is, as you can see this diagram over here, it looks similar to a star. It's exactly like a star. So yeah, here you have like the fact table at the center, and the dimension table radiates outward, and the shape is like a star. And lastly, it also has like a simple intuitive design. And what are the benefits of having a star schema? One, it's easy to understand and intuitive, and it allows you to have faster queries. And you usually don't need to join tables too much, you don't need too much dimension tables, you only need so much. And it's ideal for most BI tools like Power BI and Tableau. So whenever you like come across like a situation where you have to work with multiple tables, having connecting creating like some sort of star schema would really help streamline your analysis. So key takeaway. So a star schema stores business events in a central fact table and uses dimension tables to analyze them from different perspectives. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me and any one of us. And yeah, now that you've understood like the concept of a star schema, I can move forward to using Power BI to demonstrate how you can create how to load the data and how to create your own star schema. All right, so I'm in Power BI right now, and I went ahead to load the table already to not make this video too long. And how I did that, I just went to get data, and I went to text and CSV because we're importing a CSV file. So all I did was just import the tables one by one. So yeah, now that I've imported all this table, the next thing I want to try to do is that I'm going to go to table view. I want to review like all the columns that are in this table so you can get an understanding of what's going on. So for the first table, the customers data set, we have the customer ID, the unique ID, zip code, city, and state. Pretty straightforward. The orders table consists of this one is the order items table, which is probably the items they purchased. So it includes order ID, item ID, product ID. It also includes like a freight value, which can be helpful. Perhaps it might be maybe the price of what the cost of transportation was. So I think that's all. We also have like the order payment. So this is order ID, the payment sequential, payment type, payment installment, and the actual payment value. I think this can be really useful for your analysis. This one is the order reviews dataset. It includes the review ID, the order ID, the review score. This will be really helpful if you want to know the customer satisfaction. This is really helpful for your analysis. And what I think won't be quite helpful is the review comment message. So you can go ahead to delete this column. Maybe that's the first thing we'll do in Power Query once we transform the dataset. So we also have the orders dataset. And this includes like a lot of metrics that can be really helpful. It includes the order ID, the customer ID, order status, order approved, the date the order was approved, the order delivered, carrier date. This is when the order was sent out, and this is probably when the order was delivered to the customer. So I think this would be also helpful. And we also have the product data sets, and this just includes relevant details about the product. You can go ahead to check the columns that you won't need. Like, I don't think this will be really useful. This is like the product photos quantity, so this is probably part of the columns that you're going to drop. And the last table we have here is the product category name. So you can see over here, here's like part of the data cleaning that you're probably going to do. The columns are not named yet. So we have two columns over here. So you're probably gonna have to like use headers as columns. That's probably what you're going to have to do in Power Query. So it's just going to use this as the column. Power BI probably didn't manage to pick it up, so you're going to have to do that manually yourself. So now that we understand like what the tables consist of, let me quickly walk you through how you can transform your data. So you're just going to go to transform data, and it will take you to Power Query. And in here, you can start looking at things that you don't need. I think we noticed something in the order reviews date. And one of the things we noticed is that we found a column that we probably wouldn't need like this. So to delete it, just highlight it and just press delete. It's as simple as that. So, and this too, I don't think is going to be really useful. So I can just go ahead to delete this one too also. And over here, you can see that it's tracking all the steps that you're doing. So if you perhaps want to undo what you did, you can just click on this X and it will undo what you did. So, and also what else did we notice? I think in the, let me check the orders data set to see some things that I'm not going to need. I think everything is good over here. What about the product? Yeah, I think in here we notice the product photos quantity. I don't think that column is going to be that useful, so I can just click on it and just delete. And lastly, I think we noticed something in the products category name. We wanted to promote this as headers. So all I can do over here, so what I can do over here, I'm just going to highlight this and I'm just going to use first row as headers. So as you can see over here, it has changed this to, it has changed the column headers to this. So, and that's how you do that. So I think I'm satisfied with the data cleaning I've done, but there's probably something else you might find. So take your time, go through it, find some issues that you can get rid of. So I'm just going to click on close and apply. And awesome. So everything is all good. As you can see over here, our changes have been made. So I'm just going to go back to report view. And to start creating my star schema, I have to go to the model view. So this is where we're going to be connecting all our tables together. So before I do that, I usually ask myself like this question, like which table is like a strong contender for the fact table? And based on what I'm looking at here, we have various tables that can be contenders. For example, this customer data set, I think it's much more suitable for like a dimension table because it gives us like a context of who, right? Like we mentioned earlier. And the order items data set, I think this could also be suitable for like a dimension table. And order payments also dimension. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as the, and based on what I'm seeing here, Power BI has done some things automatically for us. You know, based on what I'm seeing here, it has connected this, it has found like similar columns it can join on. So as you can see here, this is joining the order reviews with the orders data set with the same order ID. And this also is joining the, and this is giving like a one-to-many relationship, um, which is usually the relationship I always like to go with. It's the safest relationship to go with. You're really going to come across like another kind of relationship. We have the one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. So mostly I like to go with one-to-many. And here, this relationship also, if I try to look to see where it's connecting, let me highlight it real quick and just trace it back. You can see it's connecting it to the, it's connecting the orders, the product data sets to the other items data set, based on like the similar columns. So yeah, that's the cool thing I like about Power BI. Power BI has already detected like relationships to create. So I don't think you can just review it to see if it's correct. and before you save and go ahead with it. So like I mentioned earlier, finding the dimension tables that you can use. I already found like a few: customers, order items, order payments. And like what I think could be a strong contender for the fact table, I think, is the orders data sets, right? You're just going to find like tables that includes the most metrics. And this includes like mostly dates, I think. And one I found like many metrics in, this could be like a good contender for a fact table because it includes like the freight value, price also, which is like a really strong metric. So I think we can use this as like a central fact table, and the remaining one can be like the dimension tables. It's just like a guess at this point. So if you want to try to like determine what table would be a fact table, just look at how many metrics are in there. The more metrics you find in that table, the more likely is going to be like a fact table. So yeah, based on my guess currently, I'm just going to go with this, and the rest can just be dimension tables. So yeah, I think everything is all good, and we can test this out. There's one that's currently out of place right now, that's not connecting based on what I'm seeing, and that's probably because I think I'm just going to just connect it with this one, with the product data set, just for now, because the columns look similar to each other. So let me just save it for now, if it's going to work. All right, so perfect. So I'm just going to test this out to see if it will work. So let's try to perform like a simple analysis. For example, I want to know like the city customers made the orders from, right? So let me look at the order. Let's try order item ID, right? Let me just see. I just want to check something out. Okay, so our report is working fine. So if you can see that it's performing the analysis really well. If perhaps it wasn't properly connected, you see that we're going to get the same result for everything. And now we're seeing like really strong context. So this is like a good sign that our table is connected properly. So yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. I think I'm just going to stop over here. So now that our table is connected, you can determine how you want to perform your analysis. You've already gone through 50% of the steps, so the rest is not going to be that hard for you anymore. What matters, having a strong data model just helps you. It makes your analysis much more easier. So I hope this was really helpful, and I'll go ahead and include the slide in like the resource folder. And of course, if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for being here. Cheers.